Hi, I'm Valerie, and you're listening to The Beauty Brains. Welcome to The Beauty Brains, a show where real cosmetic chemists answer your beauty product questions and give you an insider's look at the cosmetic industry. This is episode 406. I'm your host, Valerie George, and with me today is Perry Romanowski. Hi, Perry.
Hello, Valerie. Great to see you.
Great to see you. I'm so excited we're back recording because we have so many questions to cover, including how can you tell if a new product is just a name change or did the formulas change? Why can't companies sell Mousse sunscreens? Why is purple shampoo drying on hair? What's the deal with the OS1 peptide? And how do you deal with rosacea? But first, that chit chat.
Valerie, it's good to see you up.
My shift started about 7 hours ago at 2 in the morning.
You know, if you're getting up that early, you might as well also just get a cat, too, because that's what time they like to get up to eat.
Well, pretty kitties, kittens are out running about, and
Are they?
I'm trying to catch them, but it's just so hard now that I have baby C to get the traps and all that kind of stuff. But I should ask someone in the Dallas area to help out with that. But then Butch and Frank would go crazy.
Oh, right.
You know.
How have the dogs been with the baby?
At first they were like, what is this? And then I think they had a little trauma in their past life with the baby because they got really upset when they saw the stroller. But they really like him now. Mostly because they like to lick his vomit.
Oh. Well, I suppose there's a lot of protein in there for them.
Yeah. Ew. Well, remember last week we talked about Dr. Emmy Skin? It was this German skincare brand by dermatologist Dr. Emmy Arpa, and I said it had Barbara Sturm vibes.
Sure. Episode 405, yeah.
Well, yeah, it was very recent. So I did order some products because I love the color yellow, and all I have to say is I better get my hat. So remember they were offering this hat with UPF value or whatnot.
Right, the hat got you, I recall.
It did. So I placed an order. I didn't see the hat in the cart, but I saw the advertisement on the website, like you get your free hat if you place an order. And so I wrote them. All I have to say is that hat better come in the mail. Because if it doesn't, I have qualms with them. Anyway, I wrote them and I said, please make sure the hat is in the package. I actually have to ship it to my cousin in Germany because it's been in the beauty news. I know we're not in beauty news yet, but a lot of people are upset that they can't get their cosmetic products from Europe shipped to them because the postal carriers aren't shipping to the U.S. right now.
Right. I did see in the news that countries around the world have all decided not to ship stuff to the U.S., and that's because, the tariffs and stuff?
Well, the tariff situation changed. So basically, you had a de minimis exemption before where if the value was under $800, it could enter duty-free. Now the U.S. is saying, well, you actually have to pay some tariffs on that. That's ending. And these other countries aren't protesting the fact that U.S. citizens have to pay tariffs on package receipts or people in the U.S. receiving packages. But it's more or less like the process is unclear because U.S. Customs hasn't come out with how they're going to calculate duties pretty much.
Right.
So they just stopped for a little bit. It'll pick back up again. It has nothing to do with anything because other countries pay tariffs all the time and importing fees. Like if you ship to Canada, you have to pay some fees when you get your package. Well, I'm going to get my Emmy Arpa skincare. We'll just have to figure out how, even if I have to go to Germany to get it, which I will be going to Germany, but I might have to wait to get it.
Yeah, when are you going to Germany?
Well, I was planning to go before In Cosmetics in Paris next year, but I have to go sooner to get my skincare.
Oh, there you go. Well, you'll have to let us know how that goes. And I'll let you know if there's anything you want me to pick up while I'm in France, you let me know.
Ooh, great idea. Anything happen with you in the last week?
I went golfing yesterday at like 7 in the morning.
Did you wear your sunscreen?
I did not because I wore long sleeves and long pants. Because you know what? It's the end of August and it's cold. Like, how is it cold in the end of August in Chicago? This is driving me nuts.
I'll trade you places. It is still so hot here in Texas.
Oh, really?
Oh, my gosh. But I have a question. Weren't you worried about exposing your neck and face?
I wear a hat also. And
is it a wide brim hat or a baseball hat?
It's a It's a golf hat. It's a very stylish golf hat.
What's a golf hat?
It's like an old timer, but it's similar
Oh,
to a
that
baseball
is.
hat.
Oh, yes, yes, yes. No, it is
Yes.
not similar to a baseball hat. Oh,
I mean, it's
Perry.
similar. It has like a rim. I don't know.
It goes on your head. It's similar.
It is very
Oh,
similar.
goodness.
Well,
Well,
that's such a frustrating sport, though, because like I play it all the time and I never get better. I never get worse, but I never get better. And it's like you spend all this time, you should get better at something, but I don't.
that's usually how it goes. So,
Yeah.
it's. Oh, well. Golf is difficult.
It is, well, yeah, for some people. For me, obviously. Although I have high expectations.
Well, it hasn't been a difficult week in beauty news. It actually was pretty light. So let's head over there.
Valerie, my old brand was in the news. I saw this article about, which tickled me. It's like, from Glam, they said, we tried VO5 shampoo and its plumping effect vastly outshines Pantene's viral comeback.
Well, they're two completely different shampoos. So how could you even compare them?
I mean, they are all just about the claims, right? And so brands like Pantene, they say, have been like the go-to, and they get a lot of press on the internet, I guess, because, P&G is very good at, advertising. They spend a lot. And
Especially their flagship shampoo.
for sure, which has been the number one shampoo in the United States since at least 2000. Well, I've seen this complaint about Pantene a lot. People say, "Oh, it leaves a residue on your hair." So some people would wrongly say, "Oh, it's leaving plastic on your hair," but it does leave a film on your hair. And this person used it, and she says for her curly hair, and it wasn't quite right. But then she said, VO5 caught my attention thanks to the scents and the benefits ranging from moisturizing to clarifying and revitalizing.
Oh my God.
And she said, I tried it, and it worked better for my hair than Pantene.
I bet you. I mean, a VO5 works, but it's just different than Pantene, right? So I just don't feel like you could even compare them. And I also wonder if VO5 caught their eye because like the early 90s are back in and the early 2000s are back in. And so it's like, oh, let me just look at these like drugstore shampoos because that's where people get them.
Right. Well, I think the beauty of VO5, I mean, it's the cost, of course, but they do a good job with bright colors and lots of fragrance. And so if you like that kind of thing, that was very popular. Like Bath and Body Works was very popular in malls and stuff. And
that's what I'm saying. It's back in. It's just trending. And
Right.
in 2 years, people won't care about VO5 again.
No, VO5 has been around since like the 1950s. It's never going away. I mean, it's never going to be popular.
It's not going to be in glam.com ever again. That's what I'm saying.
Well, until the next zillennial or whatever the next generation is, they discover the old timer and it's like, hey. Because I think
gosh.
like 99-cent shampoo. Well, I guess it's not 99 cents anymore. It's probably $1.59 or something. Cheap shampoos are never going to go away. There's always going to be the basic Bobs and the basic Bettys, as we call them in marketing research, who want these kinds of products.
Well, I did recommend some inexpensive shampoos to the arborist that came to our home to take care of some of our mulberry trees. And
For the
he
trees?
said, well, for
Like
himself,
shampooing the tree?
he
Oh,
took his
okay.
hat off. He took his hat off and said, can you recommend, like, what shampoo should I be buying? And I just said, honestly, the cheapest.
All right. So get him VO5 or Suave.
But that's what I recommended.
You know, when I was on VO5, there was Suave, and then there was another cheap shampoo called White Rain.
The
Remember
white
White Rain?
rain is gone. But they had this hairspray. It was in the green. White Rain was a white package for the most
Yeah.
part, and it had like an accent color on it.
Okay.
And there was a White Rain hairspray that had the green cap and like the green raindrop on it.
Oh, the
That
first natural.
thing
or something.
Smelled so good
Oh,
that
yeah.
we would just my friend had it and we would just spray it in her house as like air freshener because it smelled so good. I
Yeah.
remember the scent, and sometimes I'm like, what happened to that?
Whatever happened?
That's so
It
funny. I
used to
just thought
be.
about that the other day.
It was owned by Gillette,
Okay.
and then Gillette got bought by I think P&G, right?
No, did Gillette get bought by Comb or P&G?
I thought it was P&G. Yeah.
It's probably P&G.
Yeah, yeah. So, and then P&G doesn't want small brands like that, or
Procter and Gamble is P&G, everybody.
right?
Industry vernacular.
Oh, that's right. I think P&G is out in the public world. P&G.
It might be, yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Well, I saw something that I thought would really stick in your craw. Do collagen supplements really improve skin? It was an article in Cosmetics Business, and it's about this, I guess, peptide or collagen called Peptane. I felt
Yeah.
like a paid spot of sorts in this news website, we'll call it. But basically, it's a collagen peptide that you consume, and they have some benefits for skin and hair.
What I saw here is that it says they sort of hammer the science, scientifically proven one, or backed by science, and I don't know. I'm a collagen supplement skeptic because it's very difficult to prove that, oh, I've eaten this thing and it's had this effect on my skin specifically. Because the way biology works is when you eat something, it goes into your stomach, it's broken down to these smaller peptides and then gets digested. So whether you're eating a collagen or you're eating fish or you're eating a hamburger, it all kind of gets turned into the kind of same stuff. Now, there are some who will say that, well, collagen gets turned into a peptide that you don't find on other types of food sources. And I mean, maybe that's true. I find that a dubious claim that then it's going to go specifically to your skin and have effects. So, I remain a collagen ingestion skeptic, mostly because you make extraordinary claims like what you eat is going to impact your skin. That to me is an extraordinary claim, like in some specific way. And I don't see extraordinary evidence for this being true.
They didn't go into the science behind the collagen peptide, like how is it different than other collagen or other peptides, but they do claim it has high bioavailability, which means your body absorbs more of it than it ordinarily would, presumably due to the peptide sequence maybe, but again, they don't go into that. They just go into their 2 clinical trials that show it improves skin density, elasticity, and hydration while also reducing wrinkle visibility. Again, really hard to do from the inside out.
Right.
Then they did a study where Peptane stimulated the number of active stem cells in hair follicles to slow their decline. And so they don't have any proof that it does anything for hair loss, but it suggests a promising approach to counteract age-related hair loss. So it's just really suggestive in the language, and I'm just not sure that it would do that.
Again, they're implying these incredible claims. Oh, here, eat this and your hair will fall out less slowly. Okay. I mean, that would be great if that were true. Let's prove it more than just like, oh, we saw in a lab that, oh, this could happen. Like, come on.
I'm not against like consuming collagen, like vital collagen or whatnot,
Sure.
because if, you're still consuming something that's beneficial. And I actually don't have a high protein diet. I actually don't think most people eat enough protein, but, if it doesn't hurt, it, doesn't hurt.
Yeah.
But I just don't like the way vital collagens taste. Like people are putting it in their
Right.
coffee and it's like, this stuff tastes awful. I wonder if this is better.
Yeah. I just find that people are not skeptical enough of supplements in general. Mm-hmm. And this kind of thing just sort of boosts the supplement industry. I find the supplement industry a little bit unsavory, as it were, because pretty much it's unregulated here in the United States, and they can make all kinds of claims they want. And, I know there's hugely popular podcasts that sell supplements. That's how they make a lot of money. And it's just, people just don't need these things. If you're just eating a decent diet and you're taking care of yourself, I mean, you don't need to supplement with stuff like vitamins and ginkgo biloba and all this. It's all just kind of a waste of money in my mind. So maybe that biases my view of the science behind eating collagen for your skin. I don't know.
Yeah, it's very interesting. I'm reading about the manufacture of the peptide from this Peptane manufacturer, and they have
Sure.
a porcine version, a bovine version,
Oh,
a fish version. A lot of collagen does come from fish, which can explain some of the taste, but usually collagen has to come from some kind of animal source.
right. It is surprising to me that people aren't worried about the animal derivation of collagen.
I wonder if they think about it. I don't think people think like, well, where's this collagen coming from?
Well, I mean, they think about their beauty products and like, oh, are there animal ingredients in it? And that is a big turnoff. But I guess eating animals is different than using them for cosmetics. Maybe.
My a mentor who passed away always lamented how he missed the days where he could use beef collagen in hair because he just said it made the hair feel really soft and hydrated.
Well, and the thing is, that was not, nobody went out and killed animals so they could put it in their cosmetics. That was just a byproduct of the meat industry.
Yeah, very
So-
true. It's the original upcycling.
That's right, it's upcycling.
Well, what we're not upcycling is these questions. They're all brand new. Our first question comes to us from Laura, a patron.
Laura says, hi, Beauty Brains. Happy summer. 2 quick questions regarding hair care. And since she is a patron, we don't mind 2 quick questions. All right, she says, I have long light brown colored hair with blonde highlights, and it is very dry. Previously, I used and liked L'Oreal Elvive Extraordinary Oil Rapid Reviver Power Conditioner. Wow, L'Oreal, thanks for the very long names. However, it seems it was discontinued and replaced with the L'Oreal Elvive Total Repairs Power Restore for damaged hair. Would you know if this is true? I do like the Power Restore too, but they seem a little different. All right. It's not uncommon, I guess, for a company to replace one line with another. It sort of streamlines things, and I guess it makes production easier and more efficient. But what happens usually when they do replace stuff like that?
Well, this might not be a total renaming project.
Yeah.
I mean, it might be if the L'Oreal has discovered that maybe the product's not doing as well as they thought it would and they don't perceive it to be a formulation issue. And it could be a naming and product positioning issue for sure. They could have just changed the name, maybe highlighted some different product attributes, but it seems that maybe it was a reformulation and maybe the product wasn't doing great and they said, well, why not change the name to something different, change a couple bells and whistles, or maybe they just kept the same formula and tweaked a little key ingredient that's fairy dust in the formula. It's really hard to tell. Were you able to find the ingredient list and compare them, Perry?
Yeah. The oil rapid reviver, the main ingredient is amodimethicone up front, and behine trimonium chloride. So those are the 2 main ones there. And for the Power Restore, we've got dimethicone and behine trimonium chloride. And it also has a lower level of amodimethicone and citramonium chloride also. So the new one seems like it's got a few more conditioning ingredients, but kind of the same ones. Like it has amodimethicone and behine trimonium chloride, which is the same as the first one, but then it has some additional ones in it. So I think as far as formulations, I could see why she might find differences because they're not exactly the same. The first one also has Camellia oleifera seed oil, so it's going to have a little more oil incorporated into it, whereas the new one doesn't really have any of the oils in it.
Well, it makes sense. The first one was an oil in the name, Rapid
Right.
Reviver, whereas the new one is more about power restore and repair. So
Yeah.
presumably more conditioning agents. Makes a little sense. So sounds like it maybe wasn't a reformulation, but a different formulation.
Right. So for whatever reason, they replaced this one that you used to like with something new, and it's probably because not enough people were buying the one that they replaced.
Yeah, that's true. Or, oils are inexpensive until the crop goes bad, right?
Yeah.
So
Right.
then they say, well, we need something that's maybe not dependent on crops. And so they could have done it for cost cutting measures as well.
Ah.
Or maybe they didn't make the formula themselves and they wanted to produce something that they make on their own.
That's right, because L'Oreal will first they buy a bunch of brands, and they also use contract manufacturers. So usually, I would imagine though a company like L'Oreal, as a contract manufacturer, they're going to own their formulas. But if they bought a company, they might not necessarily own that formula.
Well, that's not necessarily the case, Perry. Just a few
Oh,
weeks
yeah.
ago, we talked about Urban Decay, which is a L'Oreal owned brand, and
Right.
the contract manufacturer that used to make that setting spray.
Uh huh.
L'Oreal pulled that business,
Oh,
launched their
that's
own
right.
version of it, and the manufacturer who invented this best selling setting spray has been very public about the separation. So
Yeah.
it's totally possible that a contract manufacturer was making this extraordinary oil Rapid Reviver for them.
Yeah. Yeah. No, you are correct. All right. Well, that's that, and I hope you. I mean, they still use the main conditioning ingredients of amodimethicone and behine triammonium chloride, so I think you're going to get a lot of the same benefits.
Similar, slightly different, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, Laura had a second question. What was it?
Said recently, my stylist used K18 shampoo and conditioner on my hair. I've never heard of it and see it is a Unilever brand. Any comments on that line? My stylist was sold and assured me it was the best thing for my bleached dry hair. Please share your thoughts, and I appreciate all you do, Laura. Wow, K18, she hasn't heard of it. She must not be on social media because that was everywhere, right?
Oh my gosh, especially in the salon professional circles, for sure. So
Yeah.
K18 is a new Unilever brand. It was actually just acquired within the last couple years, at 3 years old, an insane amount of money for it. And we'll talk about what happens as a Unilever brand in a second, but it was an independent brand before that. And a lot of people are hooked on it. They did a great job getting their foot in the door of salons.
Essentially, what it is one of these bond builders. Olaplex was the first popular one, and that was based on some mercaptan chemical technology or something like that. K18, their bond builders are based on peptides. So they create this peptide that's supposed to build bonds in hair and make your hair better. And then they did a heck of a marketing job on salons, and they built their K18 as the alternative to Olaplex, and did quite well enough to get the attention of Unilever, who just bought them right up.
So what happens when a company buys another brand? So I know that you worked at Alberto Culver. That was bought by Unilever. And I've heard from some ex-Alberto employees, not you, that it was Unilever bought them.
Right. Well, this happens a lot with any big brand. A big brand or a big company will find a brand that is doing well, and it's easier to buy up something that's already doing well than to develop a whole new brand yourself. Unilever, there's nothing K18 did that Unilever couldn't have done, but Unilever's got to figure, well, it's just easier for us to buy you up and take the goodwill that's already been developed by your marketing on your own. So it's almost like small brands are like the minor leagues for brands until they get called up to the show, the big guys buy you. But what happens when a company buys you is that they try to consolidate things like manufacturing, marketing, and R&D. And consolidate just means they shut you down and they make you move to Trumbull, Connecticut or something where Unilever is. Unilever bought out Helen Curtis, which used to make, in the Chicago area, they make Salon Selective, Suave,
Exactly,
Finesse,
yeah.
all of those. And they bought them out, and they were gonna develop a hair care research center in Chicago, and that lasted for like 10 years, and they're like, nah, we won't do that. And so they shut them down, and they moved everybody to the East Coast, or everybody here in Chicago. They either had to find jobs or move. And that's kind of what happens when a big company will buy another. So I don't know where K18 was originally located. They probably didn't have a lot of scientists behind this. I mean, you wouldn't really need that many, right? You just
No, a brand like this is, probably using contract manufacturers
for
and
sure.
whatnot, because it's very rare. Yes, they had this ingredient developed, but not many brands starting out have their own facilities. I would say that's
Right.
pretty rare. Now, the products themselves are all right. So I used to work at a salon brand. We've tested everything K18, and the spray is really what put them on the map. It's this spray
Yeah.
that contains a concentrated level of this peptide that they have, and that's a really fine product. But the shampoos and conditioners, I mean, I'm not impressed.
Well, also they're rinse out, right? So you can't really deliver much from a shampoo. So when these bond builders, they're just washing out from a shampoo mostly. A conditioner maybe you can get a little bit more delivery, but it's really the sprays, the leave-on products where you're going to have the maximum effect of these bond builders.
Sometimes when you have a key ingredient story, I actually think it can be detrimental to a hair brand.
Yeah.
I'll tell you why, Perry, because people think I have this one ingredient, I could just throw it in any shampoo or conditioner, and it's going to really change the way the product works. And the reality is, in hair care, an ingredient doesn't necessarily transform the shampoo. It's how
Right.
the shampoo is put together. And it's not very easy to formulate shampoos or conditioners. I mean, sure, a lot of people can make them, they can't make really good ones. And so when you have, to me, like a subpar surfactant chassis, and then you put this like key ingredient in it, you're just not going to see the results I think that you're looking for, because it's pretty
Right.
much like any other shampoo on the market with, maybe this like peptide tossed in. And two, they use in a couple of their shampoos just a surfactant combination that I'm not a really big fan of. So if you were going to try the K18 products, I would probably recommend their leave-in molecular repair spray and their mask. Their mask is all right.
Yeah. And as far as when the big company bought them, they probably changed the formulas. They'll change the formulas eventually. So that would probably, Unilever has some good shampoo formulas. I mean, they have Tresemme now. they took from us now. But, that's a good performing shampoo. So I could totally see them adapting one of their more consumer-liked formulas to the K18 technology. And maybe people like the shampoo better. I don't know.
We'll see. Our second question comes to us from Misty, also a patron. Hi, Beauty Brains. I saw the FDA issued a warning letter to companies like Supergoop and Vacation that make Mousse sunscreens. The language is really confusing. Is it because Mousse has not been studied and approved by the FDA as a format?
Well, this is a great question, Misty, and yes, you're right. I mean, it's probably been studied, but Mousse has not been approved by the FDA as a format, and so that is specifically why these companies got that letter.
It's interesting because they've actually had this Mousse format sunscreen out for a while, and other Supergoop has, other brands have as well. There's tons of brands that have sunscreens in powder format or wipe format, which are also not allowed formats. And people have wondered, oh, why is the FDA spending resources on this now? And I actually think it was because Wall Street Journal had a huge article on Vacation and how they've made sunscreen fun again.
Yeah.
And
Okay.
there's nothing more than a government hates than the word fun. So I'm sure that quickly
All
got
right.
the attention of the FDA and said sunscreens cannot be fun. And so I don't know why I said that in a pseudo Arnold Schwarzenegger voice.
Right.
But anyway, they said, whoa, let's stop making this fun because Mousse is not an approved format. Although,
Right.
if I were a lawyer on this case for the brands, I would say, isn't technically mousse lotion with temporary air placed inside? And
Right.
theoretically, once it's put onto the skin, the air volatilizes and it becomes once again lotion.
They should hire you as an expert witness. Yeah, I think the important thing to know here, too, is just because the FDA called these companies out, that doesn't mean the mousse form isn't an effective sunscreen. I'm sure if they put SPF on their thing, they probably went and did SPF testing using the mousse and using the levels that you're supposed to use, and they showed that it was working the way they say it is. But the FDA just says, hey, it's not an approved format, so you can't do that. So it's not about does it work or not.
Now, could the brands petition the FDA to make this an approved format through some kind of, not new drug application, because it's not necessarily a new drug active, but...
No, they could submit a new drug application, an NDA, and the FDA could approve that. But you have to do that on every formula. So you couldn't just do that, on this mousse in general, and then you can make a bunch of different formulas. No, you have to make the same formula. And so that's why NDAs are not done very often with something like a sunscreen.
Well, if I were vacation, I would do it because this formula is pretty good.
Yeah?
Mostly it's the fragrance. I'm not going to lie. Also, I do generally like mousse formats because I think foam in the hand is really fun. But
Yeah. I've not used the mousse as a sunscreen. Is it easy to apply? I don't think it would seem like it would be a little sticky.
Yeah, but again, I think it's about it being different. It's fun. I'm a foam hand sanitizer, a foam hand soap kind of girl. So,
Yeah.
For me, that doesn't bother me. It's no different than any other,
Sure.
sunscreen in that type of sense.
Right.
Yeah.
I suppose it doesn't have to be sticky either.
No. The only other thing is I feel like they also got reprimanded a little bit because one thing you can't do is have cosmetic products look like food
Oh.
without some kind of warning, or you have to specifically say they're not for kids.
Right.
I think because children's products, even like children's cosmetic products, are regulated in that sense where it can't look like it's edible. It's in a whipped cream package like you would
Container,
get at the grocery store. It just has whip in the hand. It looks like it could be a food item. And so I feel like I recall someone saying that was also an issue.
That's probably correct. So I think the bottom line here is that it's not about whether it's been studied or not. I'm sure it's studied, and you can make effective SPF with a mousse version. It's just not approved by the FDA, and they're slow to approve stuff. In fact, I thought sprays for a long time, sprays were not really legal, but somehow they got approved eventually.
Yeah. So what happens? Do they have to pull it from the market? Like, what's the outcome?
Yeah, I think they will
this?
have to either pull it from the market, or they're going to have to
Fill out the application.
yes, do an NDA. So
Well,
we'll
get
see
the
what they do on that.
vacation mousse sunscreen while you can. I still see
Right.
it's on the Ulta website, and so I'll pick a couple up.
There's a brand like Kalani Sunwear. They've already pulled their mousse sunscreens from the U.S. website. So
Wow.
some people are already reacting to this.
Being preemptive.
They are
Is preemptive the word?
preemptive.
Yeah, they're being precautionary.
Yeah, sure. I think preemptive works there.
I don't know. I wasn't an English major.
What works also is this audio question that we have. Let me cue that up.
Hi, Beauty Brains. My name is Emma, and I'm a hairstylist, and I have a question about purple shampoo and why it's so drying. One of the things that my clients complain to me the most about purple shampoo is how dry it makes their hair feel after they use it. I suggest mixing it with regular shampoo or their regular shampoo to try and combat that. But what ingredients are in purple shampoo specifically that make it so drying to everyone's hair? I love listening to your podcast. It's one of my favorite parts of my day. Keep doing what you're doing. It's great. Thank you.
Oh, thank you, Emma. We love that the show's the favorite part of your day. That makes me feel really good about how I felt last week, where I was a little in the dumps about our reviews.
They love the chit chat, So there you go.
Oh, wow. Well, we know a bit about purple shampoo.
Yeah, purple shampoo is the one that is used to make your gray hair kind of blend in and disappear.
Or if you have yellow hair from bleaching
Yeah.
and you have this
Yeah,
yellow
right.
pigment left, it helps neutralize it.
Yeah, so it just makes your hair look better. And it all features the dye, what is it? External DNC Violet number 2, is that?
Also known as acid violet 43 in Europe.
Oh, there you go. So
I
if you
call it acid violet 43.
Ah, well, I'm old school, external DNC Violet number 2.
Well, I can never remember if it gets like, if it's just DNC, if the external has to be there, or if it's, just DNC Violet too. So I just say, you know what, call it by the acid dye name, and
Sure.
you don't have to worry about that.
It's changed over the years. When we were working with this, for some reason, when we're working in the lab, because you use these dye powders at such tiny, tiny levels.
Very tiny levels, very tiny.
You can't really measure the powder out, so to work with it in a lab, what you would do is make a solution of it. Mm-hmm. So most of them are water soluble, and you could put it in. So you put in 10 grams, you make 100 grams of water, so you have a 10% solution, and that's easier to measure than the powders. Anyway, we did this with DNC Violet too, but it wasn't completely water soluble. So
No, it's not.
no, it's partially water soluble, so it kind of could work, but yeah, I don't know why I just remember the solution had like little globs floating on the top, and you had to shake it before using it.
Well, I don't make solutions. I work on an analytical balance.
Oh, okay.
And I'm used to super teeny amounts, and then
Sure,
knowing
sure.
like where the scale cuts off for any kind of accuracy. And usually it's pretty good enough. But with purple shampoo, you're right. You're using very tiny amounts, which is crazy because when you get the purple shampoo, it looks so dark purple.
hugely
and
purple, yeah.
consumers are like, oh my gosh, there's so much color. Is this going to turn my hair dark purple? And it's like, there's literally like 4 decimal places of color in
Right.
this.
Yeah,
It's not going to do anything. So,
Right.
well, not that it
Well-
won't do anything, but it's a use over use type product. You don't have to worry about it turning your hair dark purple.
So as far as this drying piece goes, it is a little surprising to me that people report that it's drying, because otherwise it's a regular shampoo. It just has this purple dye in it, and it's in there at such a tiny amount. Why is this causing the dryness in hair?
Well, believe it or not, this purple shampoo dye, Acid Violet 43, is actually a bit negatively charged in character. So I wouldn't say it's in any ordinary shampoo. The shampoo can't really have conditioning agents in it because they would complex with this negatively charged dye. And so
Yes,
for
yes.
this reason, any purple shampoo product tends to be really just a really great cleansing shampoo and doesn't impart any
Moisturizing or conditioning, yeah.
Exactly, because it really can't. Also, a purple shampoo now is so mainstream, it has to have a really good price point. So they tend not to be really elaborate formulas. Also, you don't want these conditioning agents competing for the hair. You want the dye to be able to penetrate the hair. And so they're really just minimalist formulations. Also, I suspect because this dye sits on the surface of the hair, it can't really get in all the way. Consumers may be feeling some of this surface coating on the hair
Right.
fiber, which may feel like the hair is dry, but it's actually just like this coating from the dye that you feel. So multitude of factors, but essentially not a conditioning product because chemically it can't be. The formulas are pretty simple, and you may be feeling the dye on the outside of the hair because this is ubiquitous across all purple shampoo brands.
Right,
It's not
right.
just like one. It's like every single one I've heard this complaint.
And the other thing to consider too is that people who are using these purple shampoos probably already have dry hair. So it might just be that your hair already is dry, and this shampoo is not doing anything to actually add moisturizing or conditioning to your hair. And so that could come off as like, oh, it's the shampoo doing this, but it actually was your hair like that. Another piece that Emma said was that she had recommended that people mix things in with their shampoo to make it more conditioning. I'm not sure that that's such a great idea. Just use a conditioner afterwards.
Yeah, just use a conditioner afterwards because, again, you don't want anything to interfere with that purple colorant because very little gets into the hair. Even if you use, as a chemist, if I were to put 0.5% of this acid violet 43 or external DNC violet 2 or violet number 2, see, I can't even remember.
Sure.
If you were to put 0.5% in, it doesn't really deposit a lot because it's such a huge molecule and it's negatively
Right.
charged. So it's like an uphill battle to get it onto the hair. So if you just mixed it with anything, you would actually be doing a disservice to what the shampoo could do.
Yeah, you're making shampoo work worse.
Our next question comes to us from Mary Beth. Hello, I love your podcast. It is making me smarter about how much I believe the marketing hype around products for aging skin. Recently, I listened to a podcast with the founder of OneSkin who talked about the discovery of the OS-01 peptide, which magically reduces signs of aging skin. The products are very expensive. Have you looked into this brand? Are there other brands that have similar peptides that help aging skin? Thanks for sharing your knowledge with us. Best regards, Mary Beth in New York.
OS01 peptide, OneSkin again. Well, they must be doing a great job of marketing and because it's generating a lot of questions. And in fact, we have talked about this a few times on episodes 344, 382, and 393. And what did we say about it, Valerie?
Well, we are sure they're great products.
Sure.
And if you love the way they
Formulated
make
great.
you feel, then
Right.
keep using them. But it's just very hard to have proof that peptides do anything, especially when any data comes from the brand, right? You have to take it with a little bit of grain of salt.
When you have a small brand like OneSkin, and I'm sure the founder goes onto a podcast and they just say, oh, it's the best product. That's what else are they going to say? But when you're thinking of the technology of developing skincare, the biggest breakthroughs are going to be coming from your big companies, your L'Oreal's, your P&G's, your Unilevers, because they spend the most money on R&D. And if I would be more convinced by a peptide if this was from Olay, for example, than it is from some startup brand who, I don't know, they stumbled onto some technology that the big guys didn't find. I'm just skeptical of that. And also, it's hard to notice differences when you're using any anti-aging ingredient because it's going to take, 6 weeks before you see anything, if you're going to see anything? And who remembers what their skin looked like 6 weeks ago?
Well, my skin looks drastic from day and night, which is actually a thing. There's some research papers on this, by the way.
Yeah.
I have one on my desktop right now. Well, just because your day can really influence the way your skin looks.
Sure,
Especially at the end of it. Well, I thought, Perry, we could throw in a bonus question here because we have covered this topic in the past on the OS-01 peptide and the OneSkin brand. So here we have an alternate question. And guess what? You're going to be so happy with this.
I am. This person actually specifically requested that we do it in an AI voice and make it an Australian man. So let's do that now.
Hi, Beauty Brains. I've been tempted by TikTok ads for a new barrier strengthening moisturizer from Experiment Beauty called Molecular Mesh. They rely heavily on videos from their cosmetic chemists to explain the special ingredients of the product. They especially highlight actoin, phytosohingacine, glycerin, centella liposomes, and guaiacylene. Thoughts? Thanks.
All right. Have you heard of this brand, Experiment, with the special molecular mesh?
I actually have heard of them, and this is a very popular product right now, and for
Out
good
of
reason.
Sephora, I see.
For very good reason. One, I mean, it looks very Gen Z or Gen Alpha. It's bright colors. It's blue on blue, and
Yeah.
it's just very grabby from that perspective. But they're using a lot of great language and key ingredients that are resonating with consumers right now. So everyone is about barrier strengthening, barrier repair. This is a barrier strengthening moisturizer. It has a fun name, Molecular Mesh. I don't really know
Yeah.
what that means. But they're using a couple ingredients that are buzzing right now, primarily ectowin, which Sharon in the Australian accent, highlighted phytosphingosine, which is actually a type of ceramide found within the stratum corneum of skin. Your stratum corneum, your outermost layer, has about 45% ceramide content. And then centella, specifically centella liposomes. Liposomes are also really hot right now. So I feel like they have a lot of stuff going for them. And I would believe that this is a really great moisturizer.
So liposomes, ceramides, and amino acids.
Well, ectowin, they call it an amino acid, but it's not really an amino acid. Are you familiar with it?
Yeah. It's like it's definitely not one of the 20 amino acids that make up the proteins in human bodies, but I think it's some sort of derivative of amino acids. So it has the
carboxylic acid group.
Right,
It has the amine group. So it has a similar structure, and they call it an amino acid. But that's actually a really great material. My favorite serum that I've been using this last year is actually an ectowin serum prototype from an ectowin supplier. So, I've been really impressed with this molecule. But just a really nice moisturizer. They have a lot of oils like caprylic triglyceride, safflower seed oil, and then they have a bunch of humectants, emollients in it to make it feel really luxurious on skin. And then just, with ceramides, you actually don't need a lot. They impart a really big oomph on skin. I'm talking like less than 0.1% in a formula. You would feel the impact of a ceramide.
It is interesting that she says that they rely heavily on their videos of their cosmetic chemists to explain their special ingredients. I mean, that's a marketing strategy, I guess.
Yeah. Everyone likes to see that there's some brains behind the operation. So I think that's a really nice strategy that they've employed. But, I don't think they need that. I think they have some great stuff.
Well, if you're going for like a science-y story, which is what they're going for here, I could see that angle. And, whenever you put like a lab coat on somebody, it makes what they're saying seem more legitimate. Even if it's just marketing gobbledygook, but because the molecular mesh, what is this? That's like not science. It's just a marketing term. Well, looking at their founders, it does look like they do have chemistry backgrounds. So
yeah, I think one of them has worked in the industry a little bit. So it's kind of cool to see that there is a bit of real knowledge going into the product. Sometimes it's just like sometimes it's like a cover story, right?
Well, yeah, exactly.
And this doesn't feel like a cover story.
Well, it's a huge challenge, in my opinion, for scientists to launch beauty products because so much of a beauty product success is based on the marketing and the marketing story that you can tell. And honestly, you kind of have to believe some BS to be able to like talk confidently. When you're a scientist, you kind of have to be skeptical of things that you hear and read, and you're like, oh, this does that, and you're like, does it really? And while that makes for good science, it does not make for good selling and marketing. So that's what the big challenge is.
Exactly. Well, that's why I think they have done so well, is because they have two co-founders. One is more in the lab base, and the other has a chemistry degree. But
Right.
I don't think that they've worked on the chemistry side of our industry. So
Right,
I think more of a beauty aficionado. So you have that person who can provide that hope in the bottle. But yeah, it looks very fun, and they're doing very well, and I'm sure it's a really great moisturizer.
Yeah, well, those are our thoughts, and looks like we got time for one more.
Comes to us from Jillian.
Jillian says, this is for Valerie. Hello, and thank you so much for your wonderful podcast. I'm a new listener and soon-to-be Patreon supporter. Regarding the topic of rosacea, I did try scanning through the years of episodes to find ones, but no avail. How do you deal with rosacea? I'm contacting you specifically, Valerie, with this question because on a recent episode, I heard you mention that you deal with rosacea, and I'd like to pass on professional info on this topic to my stepson's girlfriend who deals with the condition. Thank you for your attention to my question. Oh my God, thank you for your attention to this matter. Thanks so much, Jillian.
Well, we have talked about it before, but you're right. I guess it would be kind of hard to find because it's
Right. We We don't index our podcast very well yet. Maybe we'll get some AI help.
We should,
yeah.
So I do struggle with rosacea, and actually when I was pregnant, which none of you guys knew about because I kept it a secret from everyone, even in the industry, I actually, for the first trimester and a half, suffered horribly from, I have pustular rosacea, and I just looked like horrible the whole time. It was a huge breakout all over my cheeks.
You didn't look horrible.
And nose, which is where I get it.
That. Yeah, I didn't.
Well, yeah. Well, thank you, Perry. Thank you. So yeah, I really struggled with it, especially during the pregnancy, which is like, why couldn't I get cute symptoms, right? That didn't impact my face. But anyway, so I have a prescription for this purpose, azelaic acid, 15%, which is a prescription strength in the United States. And a lot of brands are jumping on the azelaic acid bandwagon because they just kind of blanket say it helps with rosacea, but that's not really the case. It specifically helps with pustular rosacea, and lightly, and I'm talking like it takes months, exfoliating the surface of your skin. It's a very weak acid from this perspective. So, and you have to use a ton of it, obviously 15%. To get this result. And they don't really know how the mechanism works. So that's what I do. However, it depends what type of rosacea your stepson's girlfriend has, because some rosacea just appears as like red flushed skin, or you have like a lot of small visible blood vessels. I don't have those per se like on my cheeks, but I have them on my nose. But I have the pustular type of rosacea, which looks like little pus dots all over my skin, and you can pop them like pimples, although I don't recommend it, but I do that anyway. And then some people have rosacea just like on their nose, and think of like the classic old man who has like this really huge nose, and I think it's called a bulb nose or something like that. Sure. It's very bulbous looking, and it just like has lots of capillaries and bumps and lumps on it. So the most important thing that your stepson's girlfriend can do is get diagnosed by a doctor. And stay away. Stay away from products that can be irritating, like acids, retinoids. All the good things that people want to put on their skin. She really just has to find out what makes it worse. It might not even be topical skincare that makes it worse. It might be like things she's eating or stress. But there's definitely like a trigger for it because rosacea is an inflammatory condition. So she'll have to figure out like what the triggers are, and maybe even keep like a little trigger diary, like somebody who has migraines would keep a diary on what's triggering their migraines. You could do the same thing for rosacea, but it's important to get the type diagnosed and then get the correct care prescribed for that.
Yeah, the other things that are topical are anti-inflammatories, and not everything works for everyone. So an anti-inflammatory or a topical might not work for somebody. So then there's oral medications that you get. But again, we're not doctors, so I'm not going to suggest any medication specifically. You go to a doctor. But those are the kinds of things that the doctor will suggest.
Exactly. So Jillian, hopefully that helps your stepson's girlfriend. And thank you for your compliments on the show.
Speaking of show, do you hear that music?
I hear thunder, and that means I have to go before our internet cuts out.
Did we change the music? The thunder and the lightning.
Oh, I hate that song. I was hoping you could put Thunderstruck on it, but we might get in trouble. Okay. But maybe not, because we actually don't generate ad revenue from this podcast.
Right, exactly. So YouTube will flag the ads, and then nobody will get anything.
Do you think you could make AI version of Thunderstruck, but for our show, and so we don't get in trouble? Because that's the Dallas Cowboys cheerleader song.
Oh, is it? Wow, that's fun. Well, we'll see what happens. Wait till the end of the show, and you might see it.
Oh my gosh, thanks for listening, everyone. If you get a chance, head over to Apple Podcasts or Spotify and leave us a review. That's going to help other people find the show.
That we want Valerie to feel good.
Help my self-esteem. I have postpartum stuff. I need an esteem boost. That's going to help other people find the show and ensure we have a full docket of beauty questions to answer.
Speaking of questions, if you have a question, just record it on your smartphone and email it to thebeautybrains@gmail.com, and you can get on the show with your voice. Or if you like the AI voices, just let us know what AI accent you want, and we can put that on too. Or you can also use the form in the show notes of this episode.
Or our 1-800 number. Has anyone else done that yet?
I have gotten some 1-800 numbers. You can leave a voicemail with our number 872-216-1856.
Is this a number I can also get a hold of you at if I need to tell you something?
No, I do not answer it, but if you do still leave a message, yes, I will. I will see it.
All right. The Beauty Brains are also on Patreon. You might have heard over the show we mentioned some of our listeners are patrons. This show is ad-free. We do not have pesky ads. We are not corporate shills, and so we have to fund the show somehow. So we have a Patreon account, and essentially the show is supported by our listeners like you. If you'd like to support the show at any level, you can head over to patreon.com/thebeautybrains and subscribe.
And you also get a transcript of the show, you get your questions a higher priority, and on occasion, we will do patron-only events.
Don't forget to follow us on our various social media accounts. On Instagram, we're at The Beauty Brains 2018. On X, we're at The Beauty Brains. On Bluesky, we're at The Beauty Brains. We have a Facebook page, a TikTok, and a YouTube channel at The Beauty Brains 2018.
Yeah, you can just listen to us on YouTube if you like to listen that way. And someday, we might even show a little recording from our face-to-face here.
But not today, because I look terrible.
Oh, come on, you look great.
Thanks again for listening, everyone, and remember, be brainy about your beauty.
Thanks, everyone. Kittens.